Welcome, everybody. What do you think? It's November 4th, Thursday night of 2021, and it is Guitar Town Hall with Dave Nesdahl and co-host Ben Coombs. How you doing, Ben?
Hashtag new theme song November. Right there.
Right there.
Nightbot. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Right at the head, I need to show some props. Thank you so much to John Conklin for the music of that theme song. Thank you so much to my buddy Mully in Japan and my beautiful wife Desiree for making that video happen, because between the two of them, they did that video. And thanks to Ben for giving me the photos of him playing live.
And thanks to whoever took those photos of me playing live. I wasn't doing the selfie. I didn't have an extra big selfie stick, so
yeah. But I think not to pat ourselves on the back, because I'm certainly not doing that. But the idea of the Polaroid pictures, I thought that was fun.
That made it for me. When you sent me the video this morning, I went, "Oh, dude, the Polaroids! I dig the Polaroids because it's old school. It's old school.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it."
Well, again, thanks to John Conklin for the music. Thanks to Desiree and Mully for putting the video together. And we got more surprises in the very near future.
Well, something.
You want to say hello to the people? Say hello to the
people. No. Let's see here. We've got Gear Junkie 35, Magic Man, Terry's 3Gs, or Terry Toiget, if he's in the Poutine province. We've got Keith Campbell, Papa Blue, Lovely Janice, Matthew Stewart, Kurt 5150. Great to see Curtin here. Nightbot, you just calm down. We like Thomas Santiago and David Scher. He's just easy there. You guys are getting a little excited in the chat. It's okay. They're friends. Dan of New Jersey's here. Great. Let's see, who else do we have in here scrolling up? Magic Man's just talking up Storm. I get it, because he got a key of these old Delos, and he's I don't know, neck's a little wide, a little thin. It's wafer thin, but extra wide. I don't know. Sounds like it's a bit of a pancake neck. I get it. But Mike Johnson's here. David Scher, of course. Charles 75N. Music Therapy Laz, our Hungarian homie. And back down to the bottom, so I can get Muddy Waters. Dave Ennis as well. Nice.
Gear Junkie 35 is here. Hey.
Yeah.
All good.
Gear Junkie 35 was hanging out on my channel last Sunday night, part of the Halloween hang.
Oh, how was that, by the way?
That was a bunch of fun. We were getting into Brady Tone territory with 8 people on, 7 people on. It was a lot. There was a third row, put it that way. Everyone dressed up. We had a bunch of fun. And yeah, a good time was had by Paul.
Very cool. Hey, Michael Collins.
What's up, Michael Collins? Tim Thomas.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the brand new show. It's the same show. It's all good.
New name, same adorable duo.
How about that?
Do not address the screen resolution. Lower's better.
So let me ask you this: did you get any trick or treaters on Halloween?
I had nary a tricker and or a treater, because any road where there's only houses on one side of the road, which are sporadic at that, the kids are like, forget that. We need at least both sides to cover if we're going to be out there walking this time of year in the cold and such. So, nope. I've had one since we've moved in, and that was 2 years ago, and that was my niece.
Okay.
She stopped by.
Okay.
However, she was unable to get out, so I'm not saying for sure, Dave, but somebody bought her a 100 pack of suckers, because someone likes suckers.
No kidding.
So I'm not saying who.
She could be the original Kojak.
She could. Hey,
Kurt 5150 says he can't wait for EVH Con. Me neither. That's this Sunday.
Sunday.
Greenwich Music in Riverside, New York.
Exit 5.
Exit 5 in Greenwich, Connecticut. Joe Suma is the host. It's at Greenwich Music. It's going to be fun. I believe it starts at 1:00. It usually goes to either 5 or 6, but sometimes we stay a little later. The usual cast of characters should be there. Kurt, I can't wait to see you. I know you're coming here to see Rob Johnson, Jan, and you guys will be going there together. It'll be great to see you. Kurt, are you bringing a guitar with you? Question mark.
Traveling 6,000 miles round trip. He'll be bringing a lot of photos of guitars at the very least.
Well, and I am not bringing a Van Halen guitar per se, but I am bringing a guitar that Van Halen used in 1980.
Ooh.
Not his personal one, but one like it. And I might need to take out insurance carrying it with me.
I'm guessing you don't have a case big enough for it.
It's going to go in a gig bag. I'm not going to carry it in a case.
Yeah,
but it'll stay on my back. It'll probably stay on my back whenever I'm not holding it or anyone else wants to take a picture with it.
Sure.
It'll be in my possession the whole time.
Nice. Fruitcake Tony's here. Speaking of Joe Suma, he was on with Fruitcake Tony there last night on Halen.
Yes, I was just watching some of the show just before we went live tonight. Joe Suma, great guy. Love him. And I've been going to every EVH con since its inception. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think it's going to be as big as it has been in the past. I think, like Joe Sima said, it's going to be like an alumni only, plus a couple of big Ed heads. Kurt being one of them. Like he's going to be a guest of Rob Johnson. So, kind of like
because if you're as much of an Ed head as Rob Johnson, you can have a guest list of your own.
Yeah, basically you can have it. If you're Rob Johnson, you can bring anyone you want.
Yeah.
And we love Rob, so.
We do.
Keith Campbell, I guess you got tickets for Wolfgang and Sweet Honey, I think it's called. Is it Wild Honey or Sweet Honey? I can't remember.
Oh. I know this. Dirty Honey.
Dirty Honey, that's it. Dirty Honey. I still have not heard the band, but I'm sure it's good.
Bozique, what's up? Keep Cave.
Hey Bozique, how you doing?
Dwight Bailey. Who else? Michael B. jumped here. Fruit Fly. Why do you? I could be practicing in here for hours and you don't show up. The moment we hit go live, you're like, hey, let's make it look like Ben's tripping balls. I'm not.
Peter Kay's in here. He's a good friend of mine. He's a great guitar player and a great engineer and producer. He's going to see Zebra tomorrow night. I think tomorrow night, he said. Yeah, tomorrow night at Westbury. Very nice. Cool.
Very cool. Fruitcake Tony says he got his PS text today. PS, is that poison?
Nice. P.S. I don't really know. What does that mean? Bozique said, Dave, you mentioned Dirty Honey. They sound like GNR, but more retro. Check out the songs Rollin' Sevens and California Dreamin'. I will. I promise you I will. Janice Lala is here.
Yep.
Hey, Janice. Michael B is here.
Michael B represent New England.
Right on. So, I think it was Michael Collins that wanted to know what I'm holding. I'm holding my 59 Custom Shop Telly.
It's one of those.
Yeah. I love this guitar. It's just fantastic guitar. It's just really, really been a mainstay with me lately. I mean, I love everything that I have here, but this is what I pick up every day. So
can't go wrong picking on a telly. Just saying.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael B. What else do we have here? Peter K says Dirty Honey is a great rock band. Well, I'm looking forward to listening to them. So, everybody in chat, not like you really care, but I need to apologize because I look like I'm stoned.
Dave has not been concentrating with the old focus powder, working on that old intro video for us.
No, what happened was Tuesday I had some surgery on my arm, which I have every 3 months or so. And they put contrast in my arm, and I had an allergic reaction to it. So my eyes are almost closed, and they're really watery, and I have blurry vision, and I've got like an allergic reaction on my face. So it's a little tough for me to read comments. So if I don't get to your comment or I miss it, please forgive me. I'll try to read everything as best I can. But it's tough to read. It's tough to even see straight right now. But,
for Cake Tony says pre-sale. PS was pre-sale. Okay,
oh, very cool.
Tickets for what? I'm curious for.
Oh, probably for Dirty Honey and Wolfgang.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
I would imagine. Guitar Man 45 says Adrian Smith and Richie Kotzen have an album they put together. He hasn't listened to it yet. I've heard 3 of the songs, and if the rest of the album is as good as the 3 songs, it's an incredible album. Because
there we go.
I love Richie Kotzen, and I love Iron Maiden, and Iron Maiden to me is Adrian Smith. Dave Murray's amazing. I don't remember the third guitar player's name, but he's also great. But I'm a big Adrian Smith fan. Plus, his vocals are insane. Yeah. He's great singer.
Steve Harris isn't too shabby on the old bass either.
Yeah, Steve Harris is amazing. Yeah, who doesn't love him?
What's up, Jay Metalhead Hannon?
Yeah, 7/8, my buddy Jay. How are you? Jay, excellent Halloween costume. You and
right.
You and Jeannie win, as far as I'm concerned. And I heard you guys did some skits. I thought it was amazing. They did Wayne's World, Wayne and Garth. Awesome. And I saw some of the photos on Facebook.
As a Canuck, I felt rather proud. I'm just saying, even though Wayne and Garth are in theory from suburban Chicago, whatever, like, they're from suburban Toronto. What's up, T. Ricky?
T. Ricky, how are you?
I had a feeling, Jay, John 5 had a new album out because John 5 sponsored a NASCAR car. He was the John 5 car was out there on the track. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. I wonder what he's promoting. I couldn't read what was on the hood, Dave. They're going too fast, right? So, yeah.
Did it have a big 5 on it?
It did.
Was it a gray car?
I'm trying to think. It was all black with white and silver writing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty slick. I'm trying to think how they did the 5 though, because I don't think it was the 5 car. It was confusing. I'll tell you that much. But yep, very cool. I love his stuff.
Looks like Janice recently went to a Hall & Oates show. I love Daryl Hall and John Oates.
I believe, Dave, she went to their tour on their first album.
Oh, wow.
You mentioned the other night. Yeah, she caught them supporting their first album. I was like, damn! Like, that'd be some wonderful R&B stuff.
Yeah, I loved them, especially when G.E. Smith was the lead guitar player in the band those years. Because I am a humongous G.E. Smith guy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why I love a Telecaster is G.E. Smith.
Laz is back. He's using voice to text. It's not working out well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
T. Ricky isn't, because I can actually understand what he's writing in the chat.
Well, that's good. I'm trying to read some of this other stuff. The chat's going pretty quickly. We have 36 people looking at us right now. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Yes, Fruitcake Tony. T-Bone on bass.
Mm-hmm.
God rest his soul. I loved him when he played with Daryl Hall. afterwards as his guitar player. T-Bone, just a brilliant musician.
I love the way he played. He had a really cool way of playing. It was a unique way of playing.
Mm-hmm. Randy Crooks is here.
Yeah, what's up, Randy?
He says, my wife just bought me Chicago Live from Carnegie Hall in 71. It has an hour of additional cuts from the other 5 days they played. In his opinion, one of the best live albums ever. Well, I love Chicago, especially when they were called Chicago Transit Authority.
Right.
But Chicago is amazing. Make Me Smile, I think, is probably the most brilliant song they've ever written.
Agreed.
And Terry Kath, who's better than that cat?
Yeah.
Even Jimi Hendrix says Terry Kath was his favorite. Well, he said it when he was alive anyway.
That's right, Laz. If you haven't already, please give this a thumbs up. And of course, if you're new, please subscribe. Helps us grow the channel. YouTube's like, oh, people are joining. Well, we'll promote them. Get more fun people hanging out. D-Mac. Hey, guys, any tips for shipping a guitar in a hard case? It'd be going residence to residence. It'd either be an Epiphone SG or an Epiphone Les Paul. So I'm thinking extra headstock kit. Yes, but not too much padding around the headstock, Dave. I've seen that where people put too much around it and it snaps the other way.
Well, this is what I would do. I would put a couple of polished cloths underneath the neck in headstock.
Yes.
So that the neck is not actually touching the case, but it's resting on a little bit of a pillow.
Yep.
And then put either bubble wrap in the box, or I like bubble wrap better than the little popcorn because the popcorn gets everywhere.
Oh, popcorn's just so messy.
Thank you, Randy Crooks.
Thank you, Randy.
Says here is for whatever fun you need to use it for. Well, it keeps us going on StreamYard, so thank you very much.
Without a duck right about now. So some bubble wrap, but you don't need to pack it tight. Back off the string tension because if it's going by air, you don't want to have full string tension if it's going by air. And slide something between the strings and the fretboard too. Yeah. You want to have some kind of protection. So if it is doing this, you don't want it just dinging into the frets constantly.
Hell, even a couple pieces of paper. Just a couple pieces of paper will do.
Yeah.
And make sure you slack tune the guitar. Yeah. Tune it down. It doesn't matter, even if it's a half step, just so that it's not at full tension. You don't want the guitar flying with full tension.
No.
That's a great question, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, you might want to take off the pickup selector knob too. For some reason, a lot of people do remove them because I'm thinking they, for some reason, break.
That's very funny that you say that because I watched a video today of a guitar company went and picked up 5 late 50s bursts and a gold top. And that was one of the things when they flew it back, they took all the switch tips off. So they don't, of course, you don't want to break a switch tip on a 59 Les Paul because a switch tip alone is got to be $2,500.
Yeah, exactly. I'll trade you one brand new Les Paul standard for that switch tip. Deal.
Yeah.
What's up, Joseph?
Hello, Joseph. Joseph D'Angelo is here. Very nice to see you. The Chad is here. The Chad, my buddy Chad. My buddy Chad has got one of the best guitar collections I've ever seen, and every guitar he has a Floyd Rose on it or some sort of double locking tremolo on it. Whether it's Floyd Rose or Edge or whatever, or Music Man or Godo, it has a Floyd Rose on it. And I think he has maybe close to 100 guitars, maybe something like that.
Magic Man says that's a sad scenario. Yeah, but a 59 switch tip is worth close to what a Les Paul standard's worth.
Everybody forgive me for Nightbot. Anyone that seems to be over chatting, I don't mind that you over chat. I got to fix that.
We got to throttle him back. Like he's in top gear, Dave, going down the freeway. We just need to at least back her down to third, maybe even second. We're in town. Just eat it. Hey, Sean Zimmerman.
Hey, Sean.
On the road, just saying hi, listening while driving. Cool, buddy. Glad you're checking in.
Yeah. So, there it goes. Nice. Nightbot is saying, please subscribe to the Dave Nesdall channel on YouTube. It's very easy to do that. If you haven't done it already, just click that link right there, and you can just hit subscribe and click that bell on there where it says always, and you'll be notified whenever we go
on. Peter K asks, Dave, Ben, have you seen the new Gibson Dave Mustaine Flying V's? Excuse me, they look amazing. I think I have. I think I saw some prototype photos maybe a few months back. But I think there's one like in a green slime burst or something. It looked cool. I was like, that's something about electric green bursts. They get me. They get me in the feels. Mm-hmm. Thanks, cool. Dave. Thanks, Nightbot.
You're welcome. I got one for Tony as well for Fruitcake Tony's shows.
Right.
And I have to remember it because it's a little bit longer. And as soon as Desiree gets to her computer, she'll be manning that part. So
I would say I had that written down until yesterday, and then I upgraded to Windows 11, and I forgot to save that file. Mm-hmm. So, but good news is StreamYard works on Windows 11. I was kind of wondering about that when I went to sign on tonight. I'm like, well, I hope this works.
Yeah. Bozique, I have Nightbot, but I don't think I'll be using it as often as most people do. I only have 3 or 4 commands anyway, and I mean, you guys know where to go, right? You guys know where. Yeah.
You know who we are.
It's all good. Yes, Fruitcake's show is killer. Both of them. Yep. Show Me Your Pick and Halenville. They are both top notch. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of Fruitcake Tony, and everyone that's on his show. I'm a big fan of them. Plus, Tony, if you're still here, I'm sorry I didn't send these out yet, but all these picks are for you. I just have to get to the post office, right. And I haven't been able to go yet. There is a baggie here filled with goodness for you.
Oh, he's happy when he gets those. Yep, I know him.
Which reminds me, I have to clarify something.
Yes.
I have to get this off my chest.
Get it off.
I'm not going to mention any names, but someone left a comment on last week's show that stated that, he's a big fan of Ty Price, and I am too. We both are. We miss Ty. He was an integral part of the show, but he moved on. It's okay. He's doing his other things. Exactly. And he made sure to tell me, he made sure to write down that he is unsubscribing from the show because we don't have content here, and that Ben and I are just collectors of nice guitars, and we're not players and stuff like that. And please, I don't mind. Everyone has an opinion. That's fine. And I don't mind negative comments. That's fine too. But please do some homework. If you look at me on Facebook at all, you'll see that I have tons and tons of videos of me playing live. I've been gigging professionally, actually making money since I was 14 years old, and I'm 51 now. That's 37 years of playing gigs and making a lot of money, which is how I collect these guitars. And yes, even though I'm collecting right now, it is only because I am missing a thumb and part of a finger. If I still had my hand, I'd be gigging tonight. I'd be gigging 5 to 6 nights a week. I've done most of my life. So please do your homework. And again, if you don't like the show, it's your prerogative. Please do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. I respect it, and I won't delete your comments. Your comments are all good. Whether they're positive or negative, they're still comments, and I appreciate them. But if you're going to say stuff, and I am not going to talk for Ben, but I do know that he's been gigging quite a while as well. Please do your homework before you start saying stuff that you don't know what you're talking about. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, like if you do a search on YouTube, I don't know, or go on my channel, there's, I think, half a dozen videos of me performing live in a band. Different bands, in fact, just because it was a handful of videos from one band, a handful from another, what have you. Yeah, I think I started gigging better part of 10 years ago. And not that I got into it late in life, and then I went whole. But when I got into it, I joined the busiest band in the area. So put it that way. So we were gigging every weekend for a couple of years. So, and then multiple bands as well. So a little research. Yeah. Now, and I haven't gigged in a couple of years now because the last band fell apart, and I felt a little, I'm not going to say bitter, but disheartened about starting all over again, Dave, because you know what it's like.
Yeah,
like
of course.
You know what it's like putting a new band together. And then, because of stuff outside of music and YouTube, I've taken a step back until a week ago. And the guy was texting me literally 15 minutes before we went live tonight. I'm working with a band this weekend. I don't want to call it an audition because they asked me to come try out, but we're going to go, we're going to jam, we're going to feel it out, see what happens. And I figure it's like being asked to dance. It's just nice to be asked, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
it's all good.
You might not see a lot of it on the YouTube world, because a lot of it I stopped doing as I started doing YouTube, but things happen.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. And again, I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I just wish that people would do a little bit of research.
Yep.
That's all. And if you think I'm just a collector, again, I've got nothing to prove. I know what I've done in my life. I know I've done over 3,000 gigs. And I think I did pretty good for myself. Also, last year, nobody gigged. I mean, even celebrities didn't gig last year.
Yeah.
So,
No, I don't have as many gigs as Dave, but I think I still conservatively have 200 plus gigs under my belt.
Yeah. I think we were all collectors last year.
Just look at the price of gear and the scarcity of gear. Clearly, we're all collectors last year.
Yeah.
Like, who downsized over the last year more than upsized in their gear acquisition? That's what I'd say. So, but yes, but this is Guitar Town Hall, which means it is a town hall. The floor is open as much to you as it is to us folks. So, I love how everybody, wow. I like to say it's this community is so great, Dave, because like on my channel the other night, I had a question and the guy's like, hey, can I shoot this finish over that finish? And I'm like, I don't think you can. And like literally all three of us on the panel, we're all, no, I don't think you can put that over that. Unfortunately, we had a guy who's like, I've been doing custom woodworking for 18 years or something in that effect. And he's like, yeah, you can do that over that finish. And we're like, oh, well, there you go. And he's like, because I think it was like shooting a clear over a wax oil finish, which you can do.
Now you can do that without roughing it up first.
You might have to rough it up, but I didn't think you could do it at all because it's wax and oil finish. You would think you would have to take that down to bare wood to be able to shoot any kind of a lacquer over, but apparently you don't.
And see, I would figure that you'd have to rough it up anyway so the paint would adhere to it.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. Bozik says, I'm a hobbyist, and I think that hobbyists do the best YouTube channels generally anyway, because we're the biggest gear junkies most often. Just because you don't play live doesn't mean you can't do it. And I agree with you. It was just It was just that the gentleman that said it said he was not interested in the channel anymore
Unless it
because
had gigging musicians talking, basically.
because we don't talk about the cage system and modes and music the way Ty did. And you know what? And again, I love Ty. I think he
Mhm.
was a great part of the show. And yes, he brought that element to the show. He was unbelievable, and he was really good at what he did for the show. Uh, Unfortunately, he's not with us right now, so it's okay. We're going to continue on with what
Exactly.
we do.
Hey, Paul Martino.
Hey, Paul Martino's here. Hey,
Billy Baloney. I haven't gigged in 30 years. I could give a flying F what anyone thinks about my hobby. I plan on gigging when I retire in a couple of years. And that's the thing.
that's good.
Playing original music in this past decade or so, I can say you're playing a lot of those bills, Dave, where it's 4 or 5 bands, and everybody is either under the age of 23 or over the age of 40.
Right.
Because in between time, you have smaller kids at home traditionally.
Traditionally, yes, you're a family man at the time.
Exactly. And when they're asleep, you know what you do, Dave? You sleep too, because it's the only time you can sleep. Trust me, I don't have kids of my own. I got friends with kids. I get it. But then as soon as the kids are old enough that you can get a babysitter, what have you, or the oldest one can look over the little ones, even better, then dad's joined a dad band, and mom gets to come out and hang out at the shows like they both used to do before the kids came along, and it's a great old time. But that's the thing, there is that age gap, and it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Lost Reb says different people have different preferences. Yep. It isn't about what's right or wrong. It's about what we prefer. No reason to go negative about a person's preferences. And that's true, but that goes both ways. And although I don't mind when someone leaves a negative comment on my channel, that's fine. But at least if you're going to leave a negative comment, do a little research first. Don't just comment blindly, because chances are you're going to be wrong. That's all.
That's right.
I have no problem with people thinking what they want to think and doing what they want to do. It's your prerogative.
Yep.
Totally
cool. Was mentioning about Christopher. He's seen like a bunch of concerts even since like June of just this year, like half a dozen shows since June. The wild man.
Oh well, yeah. I didn't think you Lost Reb. I didn't think you were mentioning it towards me. I just wanted to reiterate what you're saying. That's all. It's all good. I mean, there are so many of these podcasts or hangouts, if you will, on YouTube now. And everyone's got something to say, and it's all good.
Sure.
We're all doing something similar, but everyone that I've seen does something different enough that warrants all of us to be on here. And it's fun. Let's face it, these shows are not making us much money at all. If any money. Most people come on here and don't make any money. Some people, if you've got 1 million subscribers, you make some money.
It makes money.
But, this is minimal stuff here. Ben and I do this for just enjoyment and for all of us, including everyone in the chat, to do something on Thursday night. But, hey, James 5150 in the house.
Hey, Taylor 315.
Yeah, Taylor, how you doing? Well, thank you very much for the nice words.
Let's see. I get it, Keith. Dave's going to work on that.
Keith, please forgive me.
I'm not. See a pedal board?
Oh yes, please. Keith, Nightbot. I just started that thing tonight, and I haven't quite gotten the hang of it yet. So I'll curb Nightbot's tongue, and you should be able to throw whatever finger gestures you want.
Throw up your gang signs. All right, so you may notice one company features kind of predominant a lot. And look at this little colorful array.
Yeah, that's cool.
So starting in the signal chain, what do we got here from right to left? So we got my tuner, which is an Outlaw 6-shooter, into my, well, I guess we'll call it LPD pedals, even though it isn't at the time, because Lawrence Petros designed back then. Lost Dutchman, aka the Dutch, which is like his Timmy, into the 87 Deluxe. So I've got red and green channels available. Sup, House of Twang. Into the LPD title chorus, which is really nifty. I really dig it. LPD offset delay, the new digital delay that was released last week. Into the Cascade reverb, which is a plate reverb. And because I basically ran out of room, we went with another mini pedal, which is the back in the day, Lawrence Petros design, Cholla, Cholla boost, which is like a Class A amp, dimed. So really cool as a lead boost. And this is the inspiration for my signature pedal, Dave.
That's very cool.
When I got this one, wow, that's sweet.
So Jason Smith has a pedal by Love Pedals called the Chula.
Right.
And I think that is exactly what that is. Same type of idea.
Yeah.
It's like
Josh Smith's Chula. Similar. Yes. Yeah. And that's what it's just that's what Lawrence said. It's like a little, like, I don't know, a Fender Blues Junior, right? A little Class A tube amp, just, and so it starts as a clean boost, but it's got like 24 decibel on tap. So it just, like, I have it down all the way and it's still a noticeable boost.
Muddy H2O says, I don't like Ben's bonnet. I'm out of here. Gonna watch gigging musician Esteban on QVC returns. That's awesome. That's awesome.
You mean my toque? My tone toque?
Randy Crooks has a great question.
All right.
David Nesdahl, who would you gig with of any band throughout time if you could? I would say I'll give you two: Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton, present time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say about 20 years ago, I may have said I'd love to play with Van Halen, because back then I could actually play very similar, like a lot of these guys that do today. My fingers don't move like that anymore. But today I'd say Jimi Hendrix, and definitely Eric Clapton's band. I would love to be the sideman for Eric Clapton, side guitar player. I wouldn't care if I had to play rhythm guitar all night for Eric.
Randy already knows my answer.
That's a great question for everyone in the chat to answer. So if you have any, let's hear it.
So for me, I've always said the Stones.
Especially lately, yes, the Stones as well.
I don't care. Back in the day, dude, if they're all wrecked on stage, I'll be right there along with them.
I mean, lately for me, because I've gotten into such a Telecaster thing,
sure, that
it would have to be a Stones.
And I'm gonna throw out, because I'm wearing the shirt and I always forget about them. One of the most forgotten, amazing band, like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I'd love to do a set with them.
Yeah. Kurt 5150 says, I always want to call him 5160. I don't know why. Kurt, I'm so sorry. 5150.
Because he's that good. He's 10 better.
He's 10 better. That's very funny. He says Aerosmith or the Eagles would be cool for him. Janice Lala says she wants to replace Mick Jagger in the Stones.
Nice.
I would love to see a female vocalist in the Stones, especially moving like Mick Jagger does.
You can do the same shtick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Skinnerd. That'd be another one I'd love to sit in with. Hey, Daniel Horsley, great to see you.
Yeah, I like ensembles. I like more than one guitar player, guitar and keyboard. I'm not a trio guy, really. I never was. I just think that it's a little empty. I mean, you gotta be really, really, really. You got to be able to play a bunch of things. You got to wear a lot of hats when you're playing the trio.
You got to cover a lot of ground.
Got to cover a lot of ground, and I don't like doing that. I like having a few more people in the band.
That Muddy Waters mentions the Allman Brothers. Could you imagine? Oh, again, and it's not like you would have to take one person out and put you in, right? Because the Allman Brothers say, "Hey, we're bringing Nesdall up." They're like, everyone's in the crowd. Sure, why not? Like.
I was in an Allman Brothers tribute band for about a year and a half, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And I did play the Dickie Betts parts, so nice. It was a lot of fun. Let's see. Keith Campbell says he'd play the whistle. Mike Johnson, excuse me. Mike Johnson says, speaking of Skynyrd, he went to pay his respects to their graves and ran into their old guitarist, Randall Hall. Well, that's cool. That's cool.
I got to briefly meet Gary Rossington and the backup singers because they were in the van that stopped. When I saw them play, I was side stage and then skirted around the backstage area as they were leaving because they played prior to a NASCAR race. And as they were leaving, they got caught in traffic. And then one of the two vans scuffed a tow truck. So then all of a sudden it's an issue. So the road manager has to get out and, there's insurance and stuff. And so as soon as that happened, he left the door open. So I just popped my head in to Gary Rice and I'm like, good set, blah, blah, blah. And then I talked about his guitar and he's like, your guitarist, because he was playing a Cherry Burst with gold hardware, which you do not see every day. And I'm like, hey, anniversary edition, blah, 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 right? He goes, yeah, your guitarist. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. And then he was getting a little nervous, but then the background singers, because whenever they didn't perform, they would actually come backstage. They wouldn't have to stand around and just dance or whatever. And they kept seeing me side stage. So they're like, no, he's cool. And so we talked for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 minutes. It was really cool. Helping them get through traffic and stuff. And
very cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Just
I love when that stuff happens.
Yeah.
I love when that happens. Very cool. Boy, there's a lot of people answering. Bozique says Bonamasso or Gary Moore. 10 years ago, he would have said Eddie or Yngwie.
Oh, John Holland Blues Breakers.
Yeah. Christopher Soa says Ted Nugent.
Bass for Nugent.
Just play bass for Nugent. My good friend Greg Smith has that gig. He's I've known him for 30 years. Good guy, really good. I actually spoke to him the other day.
Nice.
Guthrie Govan would be fun to play with too. My God, I mean, does he leave anything left for you to play? Guthrie is like, he's incredible. That guy is just ridiculous how good he is.
I'd have to go like full on Ace Frehley for contrast, Dave. Like I don't know, like you didn't leave me anything. So that's what I'm doing.
Right on. Christopher Soa says Greg Smith rules, and I have his pick. It's funny. Is it a finger? Because I remember he was giving out like plastic fingers because he uses his fingers mostly. He doesn't use a pick.
That's awesome. SRV would have been cool to play with for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So what else? What else is on your board? I just wanted to ask you a question. On your board, yes. you said that first pedal. I've never seen the what's it called? I know it's not the Timmy, but you said it's Timmy.
The Lost Dutchman.
Yeah, tell me about that pedal a little bit. Tell me more about that pedal.
Yeah, Dave, I think this pedal is going to become one of these rare, legendary things because there's been a couple of runs of what we're talking about here is the Lost Dutchman, which then became the Dutch when Lawrence rebranded earlier this year or last year. And it came like this because he took the little mini toggle here, which we're going to get to in a moment, and he made it into another button like that. So what we got here is it's a two-channel pedal. You got your level, your gain, your treble, your bass, fine. Down, you have more or less a Timmy type pedal, so mild overdrive, beautiful, great for pushing into the 87 as well. So that's why I always like it in front because it serves multiple purposes. If you have the newer Dutch, again, I think they made 30 of this, and then they released as the Dutch and did another 30, maybe 50. So there's less than 100 of these in the world. You flip the switch, aka hit the other one. That's the punch circuit. All of a sudden now you got a dimed plexi. Yep. And it's sweet.
That is cool.
It is. I never used the dimed plexi because I got a Jose modded plexi. We're sitting right there. And
right. So do you use
better than a Jose modded plexi?
Do you have that in the low channel or the high channel?
I have both because it's the deluxe. So the green I have set darker. So because there's internal bright switches for those who don't know with their 87s, you have an internal bright switch. So I have by default your bright channel is on the right side and off on the left. I like the green channel on darker, and I like the red channel on brighter. So D-Max got the Dutch. There we go.
Very cool.
Yeah, and the 87 or the 87 Deluxe. The only one shared knob. It uses a shared presence, which Dave, presence has got to be one of the most personal EQ things. And chances are, if you ran, your two side by side, you're gonna have the presence the same on both anyways. Because you probably noticed that with your 87, one of the few pedals that if you switch it from one channel to the other, you don't have to change all the knobs. Like it sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, absolutely.
Which you don't usually get that with pedals. Every time I get one, you're like, oh crap, I got to adjust this and this, and yeah. And part of that is because Lawrence, when he adds gain, he'll sit there with your gain dial while he's building a pedal, and as he turns up, he'd be like, ooh, it's getting a little, let's say, a little sizzly. So he'll dial out some highs at that point in the gain, and then if he starts going up more, and all of a sudden you notice it gets a little dark, he'll add the highs back in again. I don't know how he does it. It's wizardry, chicanery, but we've had numerous conversations with him dialing in gain curves, he calls it. I don't know.
Yeah. Keith Campbell wants to know what the last pedal is in your loop.
That is the little Toya boost, which is basically a 24 decibel clean boost of a Class A amp. Class A
That's
2
nice.
amp.
That's nice. And if you turn the volume up on that, it just gives a little bit of breakup.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm actually thinking before practice, I may move it actually before the gain, because with that much on tap, even if you put it in front of other gain pedals, you will still get an increased volume as well as gain, which can work as well for a lead situation. I won't know until I get there because sometimes it sounds bedroom, it's a lot difference, but if we're already loud, it might only be just a touch more. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing what it sounds like. Keep us posted on that. Randy Crick says, did you see the McKnight video on the Orange Crush Pro 120 head yesterday? Nice amp. No, I haven't seen it yet. I have to watch more of Philip's videos. I generally,
I'm behind on that video.
Yeah, I generally do that. I catch up on weekends. I generally don't sit in front of my computer too much during the week.
Right.
But on the weekend I'll catch up. Actually, this weekend I can't. I'll be going. Desiree and I will be going to Pete Carucci's house, and he's alumni of the show, good
Yep.
friend of ours, for dinner. And then Sunday is EVH Con, so I won't be home for that. So maybe Friday night.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say most of these pedals on the board, folks, there are demos of each pedal on my channel, with the exception of the reverb. I don't think I've done a demo on that yet because I'm still working on something really cool for that. But I am going to I did one video of building the board. I am going to do another video once it's fully dialed in, because that way it's not a half an hour video of you tweaking stuff, but
Right.
it's pretty close already. I spent about an hour and a half on it last night.
That's cool. I love tweaking pedals. I love working on them and getting the tones out of them.
Yep.
That's one of the things that I've always enjoyed doing. I just, I love getting good tone. I love working on it. I love getting different pedals and trying to get my tone out of them.
Sure.
I actually got hired by two different friends of mine to set up their pedal boards to sound like my stuff. So, man, that's a lot of fun.
Sure.
It's cool stuff. And it's also, it's a good compliment too.
Well, like, I don't know what I'm getting into on Saturday. So with the Deluxe and the 87 Deluxe and the Lost Dutchman, that's basically 3 overdrive pedals right there. And I can stack one into either of the other two as well. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Finding your tone.
That's right. Finding your
Absolutely,
tone.
Keith.
I was thinking about that, with all the thing I'm going through, I'm like, these guys on Saturday, like, what if they're really good? And then I thought, what if the other guitar player just has really terrible tone? Like, just, like, wow.
So,
like, who brings a Gorilla amp these days? Like,
it's very funny. It's very funny that you say that. I'm going to tell you guys a story. You may have heard this before, but some of you may not have. So, I'm sure you all know who Larry Mitchell is. And in the early 90s, I was Larry's guitar tech before I joined his band. And then, I've been friends with him for over 30 years. But I was his guitar tech, and we traveled to Keene, New Hampshire in the dead of winter during a snowstorm, a bad snowstorm. And this is before cell phones. Basically, his record company said, yeah, we're going to have you do this record release up there. There is a rhythm section up there for you to use that they already know your material, blah, blah, blah. And Larry was just like, oh, great, that's fine. So we get it. We hop into my car. We travel from New York up to New Hampshire in the dead of winter, this humongous snowstorm. Basically, we get up to this one area, which was about a half hour away from where we needed to go. And then we stopped off, and Larry made the phone call to say, we're almost there, blah, blah, blah. So we get almost there, and we're talking. I said, hey, Larry, so what if these guys suck? And he almost lost his shit. It never occurred to him that, what, maybe these guys aren't any good. And he thank God they were awesome and they knew what they were doing.
Sure.
But Larry didn't prepare himself for what if they sucked.
Right.
And it was like mayhem in the car for the last 30-minute ride was the longest 30 minutes of our lives. And
I will say one thing, Dave, as your career as Larry Mitchell's guitar tech, I know at times you did relieve some stress for Larry, but you sure as hell caused it on a handful of occasions too.
I did. That was back when I was learning,
Sure.
I was learning you don't stress out the artist.
No.
Whatever you do, you don't stress out the artist. But you know what?
I always chuckle at the soldering iron story. That's all I'm saying.
In that one instance, though, he thanked me for doing that because it prepared him for the rest, even up to today. Sure. Going forward, it prepared him. Well, Jesus, what if this doesn't work out? I got to have a backup plan, because he didn't have a backup plan. Luckily, he didn't need it. Keith, no, I never did that again. But not only was his tech, but he and I are so close friendship that basically we could say whatever to each other, and it's not a big deal. But it was just a matter of fact. I was like, "Hey, Larry, what if these guys suck?" And he was like,
Guitar Man 45, what's up, buddy? He says, "Hey Ben, where did you get that shirt? I have one like it. Mine's from Tom Petty's tour in 1980. Mine's from Tom Petty's tour in what was that? 2017? His last tour?
The last tour.
And the funny thing about that is, I've never been to a lot of concerts. I can count on one hand the amount of concerts I've been to because of the proximity to Toronto and jacked up ticket prices in Toronto, and there's a variety of reasons, but it was supposed to be, Dave, Tom Petty with Joe Walsh opening. And I'm just like, oh, wow. Well, sign me up. I double bill like that. Fine, I'll pay the money, blah, blah, blah. So my best friend's girlfriend is going to get the tickets when they go on sale. Oh, okay. And we told her, make sure to get stage right. We want to be on Mike Campbell's stage. Okay.
Yeah.
So that would have been amazing. She gets in touch with us a couple hours later. She goes, so I got the tickets. We're like, right on. She goes, yeah, I got them in the right side of the stadium. No. We wanted stage right. No, I got the other side. Oh, so we're looking at the bass player all night.
That's really? Got to be tough.
I went, okay. And then she goes, oh, by the way, Joe Walsh is an opening. It's somebody else. I'm like, wait, what? And then so immediately I go on Twitter, and Joe announces, oh, the Eagles are going to do a quick little 8-show run over blah, blah, blah. So he bigs off the Tom Petty tour to do the Eagles stuff. And they brought in, Peter Wolf, singer from Jay Giles Band.
Oh, yeah. I love Peter Wolf.
It was a great show. Like, I was pleasantly surprised at how many Jay Giles songs I knew. I was like, wow, I know this song.
Angel is the Centerfold. Angel is the Centerfold was like my favorite song in the early 80s.
Well, and we were watching him play. And it's like, we're like, wow, his bass player is like really good. And a bass player, I'm sorry not to offend any bass players out there, but you have to be really damn good for a couple of guitar players to notice you in a show. And then so he's like, oh, I want to introduce bass player. He's been in the Jazz Hall of Fame for 28 years or something crazy like that. We're like, well, that'll do it. All right. Well, no wonder we're in the presence of royalty. Fair enough. But it was still, we had seats close enough that we could still kind of see Mike Campbell, and they had big screens. But he's like, don't yell at my girlfriend for getting seats on the wrong side. I'm like, did she not understand stage right? He says, apparently not. So, yeah.
Wow. Daniel Horsley says the first time he saw Petty, Jackson Browne opened for him. Now that's another cat I want to see. I met Jackson Browne on the streets of New York City, like Bleecker Street down in Soho. He was just walking, and nobody knew who he was. And I said, Jackson, how are you? And then I left him alone. He shook my hand and went on his way. It was so nonchalant. It was nice. He felt. It seemed like he felt that it was nice that someone noticed him, but he also loved the fact that no one noticed him.
Yep.
It was very cool. And I didn't make a big deal. I said, Jackson, how are you? And I walked away. And it was just, I think it may have made his moment. I don't know if it made his day, but I think he was like, man, no one knows who I am. And then someone comes up to him and shakes his hand, but leaves him alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Billy Baloney saw Peter Wolf open for The Who. Nice.
Oh, cool. That's very funny. Mike Johnson says he's gotten 2 speeding tickets both times. He was listening to Jackson running on empty. That's awesome. Oh, Keith Campbell. This is cool. His wife and he met his wife at a Petty show in Jersey in '99. Without even realizing it 6 years later as well. Wow, in San Diego. I think SD is San Diego.
Or South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Sturgis, perhaps?
Wow, very cool.
Nice. That's very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, Tom Petty was another one of those guys, like, you know, soundtrack your entire life basically. And I didn't realize it till I picked up. I remember it was like in the early to mid 90s, picked up one of his greatest hits albums for the hell of it. And just some of the deep cuts, like, I'm like, oh man, I forgot about all that stuff from the early 80s because radio was so dominant with his first solo album there, Bad Moon Rising, Full Moon Rising, whatever it was. It's basically the Heartbreakers were on it, but they weren't credited as much. It wasn't a Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers album. It was his first solo album, and he had Jeff Lynne producing, and that album was so big it really overshadowed a lot of his previous stuff as far as radio play for the next decade.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Very cool.
Hope this band on Saturday plays some Tom Petty.
Yeah,
I've made a point of doing it.
Tell me a little bit more of how that happened. How'd you get did they just called you and asked you wanted to jam? Or
yeah, literally.
Do you know these guys?
As far as I know, I only know one of the guys so far. I didn't even ask who the other guys were, but it was a drummer who came out and auditioned and got a job for one of my bands. And was one of those deals we rehearsed for about 3 months. We started gigging. We played one gig because we only had the one gig booked. We did the one gig, and he's like, so I'm renting out my house as an Airbnb for the next couple of months. So I'm going to be up in Toronto in the meantime. And we're like, wait, what? You know, like, and this was like beginning of summer. He's like, yeah, because we have a ton of tourists that come into the area in the summertime. He goes, yeah, I've rented out my house for the whole summer. Blah, blah, blah. We're like, well, like, that's our gigging time, dum-dum, you know. And so he was let go, and we found another drummer rather quick and carried on. And then we had chatted a bit a year ago, just touched base briefly. And then he hit me up out of the blue. He goes, hey, I haven't talked to you in a year about I'm doing this now with these guys. Are you interested in coming out? As we're looking to round out the sound. And I was like, sure. And he's like, oh, really? You don't mind? You know, like, ask back status, stuff like that, because it's really hard to get people to come out and jam that you just don't know people. So you can, you know, people are keeping their circle small in many ways. So yeah, I'm good to go. You know, I'm like, I'll wear a mask. I don't care. Let's play some rock and roll. He's like, whatever you want to do. I was like, that's fine. He goes, yeah. He goes, just don't bring too big an amp because we're playing in my basement. I was like, no, I'm just bringing a 112.
That was my next question. What gear are you bringing?
I'm taking my Blues Deluxe amp, that pedal board, and I'm going to be taking my Music Man Access.
An all-around guitar.
Exactly, because with that 5-way switch, I can get single coil stuff as well. And so that, and I should pack an extra pack of strings because I'm only taking one guitar.
Yes.
I haven't broken a string in a year, but hey, if there's opportune time, that's when you break them. You don't break them when you're sitting here.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I was told classic rock, maybe some blues. I was like, that's cool. Like I don't know, like if they want me to play rhythm, lead, both. Am I singing? Am I shutting up? Not allowed to sing at all? Like I don't know. So
Keith Campbell says, bring batteries. Bring batteries. Oh, do you have a power supply in your underneath your board?
Yeah, that's running off a one-spot system. 15.
Oh, how nice.
Milliamp.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. What does that look? Is it attached to the bottom?
It's just a daisy chain, and then it's just the adapter itself. But it looks like a regular power adapter that you would run, 3 or 4 pedals off. But it puts up 1,500 milliamps, so it's more than enough. And they're not too noisy right that way. I do have a big board with isolated power supplies on it, but since I don't know what is required, like who knows if it goes well and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, basically we need somebody to just do what you do. If you want to get spatial, whatever, then all of a sudden I'm going to show up next week with a board twice the size. It's going to have my rainbow machine on it, a flanger and phasers and all kinds of, multiple delays because they're like, make noise. That I can do. Dave, I am really good at making noise.
Mm-hmm. This is a great question here. Peter K says, Dave and Ben, what's your take on Eric Johnson saying he can hear the difference between alkaline and non-alkaline batteries? Well, I'll tell you that he doesn't actually take himself that serious. He has said in a couple of different YouTube videos that he's done in his studio that he doesn't really know that he can hear that stuff. He doesn't take himself as serious as he used to, because especially these days, he can't tell the difference. He's probably has lost some high end in his hearing. So
again, maybe
I honestly,
I don't know.
I honestly can't hear the difference in battery. The only difference in batteries is the length of time that they stay charged. A non-alkaline battery will drain faster than an alkaline battery, so you can hear it faster. You can hear it die out faster.
Yeah,
but I can't hear the difference. Now, the difference in ends on a cable, or the difference in cables, not the ends more or less, but difference in cables, different sound in cables, I can hear that. It depends on the amount of shielding, the amount of how long or how short the cable is. Certain cables, you lose high end. Certain cables, you gain high end.
That's why, yeah, like even in here, I run a 25-foot cable back to my amp, because I always run a 25-foot cable from my pedal board to my amp. That never changes, regardless of where I am. You could be giving, here's your spot, the size of a phone booth, the stand in, and I'm basically hovering over my pedal board because I have no room. I still have a 25-foot cable going to the amp. It's just coiled up.
Yeah.
But still going through there. Hey, Des, by the way.
Hey, honey. Welcome.
Yeah, it's all about the fuzzes too. Like, I don't know. Like, most of my pedals, you can't run batteries in them even if you wanted to.
Here's another great question by Pete. Dave and Ben, if we use a lot of pedals, do we need a buffer, and where in the chain?
Yep.
Yes, you do need buffers, and you need them in more places than one. You should have one at the beginning of the chain, one at the end of the chain, and somewhere in the middle of the chain at least. I have at least 3 buffers in my pedal board. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 13 pedals in my pedal board, and I have at least 3 buffers. You lose if you don't have any buffers. You definitely lose high end, and it just doesn't sound the same as if you were to plug your guitar straight into an amp. It just, the quality of sound goes away. So yes, buffers do matter, and the more the merrier.
I generally, rule of thumb for me is 1 at the front, 1 at the end, and then depending on pedal board size, 1 every 5 to 6 pedals. So that's for me. And so, like, my tuner, which basically, folks, you don't need to buy buffer pedals. Where's the old rainbow of color tone? There they are. You know those pedals that were made in Japan out of China? They're called Boss. You might have heard of them.
Yeah, they're all buffers. Yep.
Yeah. Even if you aren't using it, just throw a Boss pedal at the start of your chain, a Boss pedal at the end of your chain. Boom. Don't even touch them.
Yeah, and if you have a Boss tuner, that's a buffer.
Exactly.
Boss tuner is a buffer. So yes.
And generally, no, you can't, that's not 100%, but generally, because people like to brag on the pedals, Dave, true bypass, which basically means non-buffered. So if it doesn't say true bypass, chances are it is a buffered pedal.
Absolutely. Mike Johnson says he just got the Nova system today. Well, how do you like it? You must love it.
TC Very Electronics, cool. I believe that is.
Very cool.
Yeah, I don't have a buffer at the end of this one, and I'm running 7 pedals total.
So
Thank you,
I found a new pedal. It's not very new, but it's newish. That
Yeah, sorry.
I actually
Billy Baloney, yes, you do not want a buffer in front of a fuzz. You want
no
guitar directly into fuzz.
correct. I actually don't need it because I'm not gigging right now. But a pedal that you definitely should have if you're a gigging musician, you need the Strymon Iridium. You got to have it.
Those are sweet.
Because if your amp goes down or if it's a silent stage, that little pedal sounds like the best tube amp I've ever heard in my life. Strymon Iridium. My buddy Dennis just got one and he sent me some clips of it, of him playing. And I got to tell you, it sounds like, you know, a hand wired tube amp.
I'm not going to tell you, Dave, that there's a handful of YouTubers out there that aren't playing through the old loud boxes anymore, and they're using one of those as their DI, if you will. What's up, Loogie Flux? What?
Loogie
and
Flux,
Man picked up an MXR micro flanger for $40.
Oh, how nice!
Sweet deal.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Any
Guitar Man
MXR pedal for
45.
under $50 is a steal.
You ain't kidding. Guitar Man 45 says he's still waiting for the FM9. He heard they're shipping them. Well, I'm sure they're if they haven't already started shipping them, they'll be shipping them real soon.
Yep.
Real soon.
Speaking of, so I'm going to say that Iridium would be on your lust list, Dave.
Well, not really, because I have no use for it here in the house.
No reason to be on the lust list. You lust it, but you don't need it.
Right. I guess that's true. It's also a $400 pedal.
Oof, yeah.
So it's a little bit of money, but you know what? Like I said, if you're gigging in today's society where it's a quiet stage and they don't allow amps on the stage, it is a great alternative to say the Axe FX or the Kemper or the Head Rush, all those really expensive pieces where you don't necessarily need all the effects and everything. The alternative is that Iridium. It's small and it sounds like a real tube amp. The only difference is it's not blowing past your knees like a tube amp would.
Yeah, it's not shaking
it's not hitting you in the back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to mention a pedal that is on my lust list. I first saw a video on it from Premier Guitar on Monday. John Bollinger, shout out. I like John, very versatile guitar player. He was showing off the new MXR Deep Phase, which, as far as I'm concerned, MXR set the standard in phasers. People, Phase 90, small stone, Phase 90, small stone. I'm a Phase 90 guy. It's a little soupier. This thing's got a rate knob and a feedback knob and then a mode button. The mode button switches you from a 4-stage to an 8-stage phaser, which is, what's that, Ben? Smoother, basically. Mm-hmm. Doesn't go further, but it's smoother. It's a nicer ride. Be like 8 wheels on your car instead of 4. Smoother. So, So the rate is just the same as, your standard Phase 90 style rate adjustment. The feedback, it gets you more into flangey territory by adding feedback, resonance, decay. They're all the same thing. So really cool. I want one. I don't know what the street price is. I want one. And it's in mini pedal platform too. So it doesn't take up a lot of real estate on ye old pedal board.
It's very nice. So I have one more thing on my lust list, and I'll show you a picture of it. I actually found it today. And it's my birth year, 1970 Telecaster. This is faded Lake Placid blue.
That's it too. And the headstock's starting to get a little ambery.
Oh yeah. Now this guitar is in Italy, and it's $12,700.
Oh, is that it?
Well, that's cheap money considering there's a 70 Tele, and I think my buddy Dave Davidson has a very, very clean, almost mint. I think it's Lake Placid blue, or it might be sage green or something. 70 telly at the Well Strung Guitars. I don't know if he still has it or if it just sold, and I believe it's $30,000, or it might be $50,000. But I mean, the difference is this is a little bit more player grade, the one that I'm showing here, whereas the one that Well Strung has is more of a collector grade. But boy, it's still expensive. I can't grab that guitar.
I was pleasantly, absolutely shocked at that because.
But it's my
I haven't had like I haven't had my vintage guitars appraised in a number of years, but I forgot that. Yeah, pre-CBS used to be the key factor, and now people are like, whatever, CBS is fine because we can't even find pre-CBS, let alone afford them. So,
right. But this guitar,
yeah.
Lake Placid blue, I dare you to go find another one.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing, eh? For every Lake Placid blue, there's 100 blondes out there.
Yeah, and there are blonde ones that I was looking at as well in the $6,000 range.
Right.
But this is still, even though it's player grade, it's still pretty clean. Really beautiful guitar. Here, let's see if I have any more. Here's a close-up.
Billy Baloney says I'm pre-CBS. I do Guitar Man 45.
Here's a picture of the headstock. Just really, really beautiful guitar. Unfortunately, my wife would probably have my nuts if I bought
it.
it.
Now I can sit like Dave and have the same guitar.
She has them anyway.
Yes.
There you go. That's a 71, yes?
It's looking much darker on camera.
Hang on, let me get you on there you go. Yeah, I dig that guitar.
Yeah, they see there. That's a little bit more the color.
Yeah, the difference being for me is, first of all, 70 is my birth year, and I wanted one like that in a bluish green with a maple fretboard.
Moldy though, Dave.
Yeah.
Look at that lineup with the pickguard.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, it happens.
Handmade. Yeah.
It's a Monday guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Back at work. Oh my God.
Yeah. You know, like they figure, oh, the guy's gonna have big hands getting in here. We'll just open it right up.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the point where the pickguard, you can grab it.
All good.
You didn't need to bevel that part, folks. But yeah, 71. The only thing left that's stock about it, the pots, that plate, those knobs.
And that's a 4-bolt net, yes?
Yep, one of the last years that they did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and the tuners, which suck. I really need to get new tuners. These ones are, some of them are very stiff. You know, it's one of those, Dave, when you're reaching, maybe we'll just go to E flat because this is getting hard. And it's got the super small frets that nobody likes.
Oh, yeah, I don't care for super small frets.
Oh, I love them. I love them. Yep. Because you can go, and you're not flubbing all over the frets. It's semi-fretless. Oh, yeah, and I put the 4-way switch in this one, too. That's right. So that's one of the tellies.
Did I hear that Boner Jams is in here? There he is.
The one and only. Is he? Awesome.
Yep. How dare you
single-handedly sexiest metalhead this side of Hanoi. I've said it once, I'll say it again.
He says hello to my wife before he says hello to me. The nerve. It's okay.
That's all the telly ugliness in one convenient package, Bozique. Yeah, I grew up around blonde tellies.
That's so funny. Yeah, Bozique, we know you hate Telecasters. It's very funny. You hate them as much as I love them.
Exactly. It's just more for me. Okay, fair enough, Des. You're being all proactive saying hi to people.
You guys will have to excuse me. My eyes are going crazy.
I was going to say, it's caught the time. We'll go for about another 10 minutes here, folks. So if we do have any other questions or comments, bring them on in. I like this idea. Yeah, birth year guitars, they can be a little tricky. And that's the fun thing if you're a Generation Xer, because Dave, 1970, you know, that's a tough year, you know, because I can say I was born in 74. 70 to 74, it's like Fender and Gibson weren't doing the best things at the time, and Japan hadn't quite moved into those beautiful lawsuit era stuff.
That's true. Well, you know, I'll give Fender 1970, and I'll tell you why. It's before the bullet headstock.
Right.
It's still a 4-bolt neck.
Yep.
Chances are the neck pocket is tight. The neck fits tight in the neck pocket. Yep. They haven't gone where the neck pocket is a swimming pool and the neck is shifting back and forth.
Right.
Jimi Hendrix's last Strat was a 70. The black one, 70 Strat. And I'm a big Jimi Hendrix fan, so
for sure.
70 Strat good enough for Jimi Hendrix, although he died in 70.
It's close to pre-PBS spec, but with poly paint. That's the only difference.
Absolutely, and I don't mind having a poly finish.
There's not. I've got one in nitro, one in poly. Do I notice a difference? No, because that one, all the wear spots are totally gone on the nitro guitar. So it's bare wood as opposed to a little bit of that. But they both check, you know, they're both checked beyond. Like, that's why I thought the 71 was lacquer until Pete Thorne corrected me on that. Because the amount of checking on it, you would think it was a lacquer guitar.
Yes. Janice Lala says her birth year was really good for Telecasters. And it's 1952. And I got to agree. 52 Blackguard, anything Blackguard is amazing. 1950 to 1954. Actually, in the middle of 54, they started using white guards. Yep. So, I mean, even when they were white guards, 54, they're all fantastic. I have not ever played a bad Blackguard Telecaster. Never. And contrary to popular belief, they did not all have humongous necks. Right. I've played several.
As shown here with the bottom horn on my telly, people can get aggressive with the sandpaper.
Yes, that's true.
Fair enough, owner jams. Fair enough.
Bozique says he likes the fat bullet headstock, but it's not as cool as the classic smaller headstock. And yeah, the 3-bolt neck makes no sense. And I agree with you. Also, if you're a G&L player, I don't know why they started out with the 3-bolt neck. I don't know why Leo Fender decided that was still a good idea. But now they're using 4-bolt necks, and they're very.
The only thing good that came out of the 3-bolt neck era was the micro tilt function being added.
Very true.
No need for a shim again, folks. It's a built-in neck shim.
Mm-hmm. Keith Campbell says broadcasters too. Yes, broadcasters are amazing. I've played 2 of them in my lifetime, and that was both. They were both recent.
I've never had the honor.
They're amazing guitar players. They don't all have humongous necks. They are on the heavy side, but they're great guitars. 1950 broadcasters were 1950.
I think there was a couple broadcasters in at Carter's when I was in there, and I might have been able to play one, but they were kind of busy because it was NAMM week. But I was lucky enough to build a rapport with the guy, because ironically enough, I'm talking to the sales guy, because they have like dedicated salespeople to deal with their customers there, Dave, which I'm sure a lot of high-end guitar shops are that way. And he's like, "Where are you from?" Turns out he's a fellow Canadian expat now living in Nashville who used to gig around here, and his sister lives like 20 minutes from me. And we're just like, I'm like, "Really? I live in this small town?" He's like, "I totally know that town." He's like, "Does this bar still exist? Does this one?" I'm like, Yep. So might have been able to. The earliest I played was the 57 telly that was there.
57s and 58s are great. Peter K, you take care of yourself. We'll see you soon.
See you,
Randy
Peter.
Crooks, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Randy needs to get some dinner into him. Just saying.
I can imagine.
Apparently, Boner Jams is looking at a Jim Root Charvel when it comes out. Oh, Jim Root went over to Charvel, did he? He's done with well, he did a Strat, a Telly, and a Jazzmaster for Fender. Why not move on to Charvel and bring out some over there? He's conquered all the Fenders.
Bozique has a question here. Dave Nesdall, are those really early 50s Strats and Tellys more expensive than a 59 Les Paul? Or is it 59 generally the most expensive vintage axe? Well, I would say more expensive than a 59 Les Paul would be a 58 Carina Flying V or Carina Explorer. Those would probably be the top of the food chain at maybe $500,000.
Wasn't there only like 30 or so made of each? Or maybe 70?
There were more than that, but not very many. I think 58 they made just a few. A few. And then 59, 60, I think they made Explorers up to like 63, I think, but not many. But yes, the top of the food chain are the Explorer, the Carina Explorer and Flying V. From there would be a 58, 59, and 60 Sunburst Les Paul. Yep. From there, it'll be a 57 Gold Top and down the line. I guess nowadays, 59 Black Beauty or 57 Black Beauty will be somewhere in the vicinity of $100,000, maybe a little bit more, $150,000. And then you would find 54 Strats.
No casters.
$150,000 range. Blackguard Telecasters anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000. Generally, when you're a collector, if a celebrity has owned the guitar, it doesn't really matter. Collector grade, it doesn't matter if collectors don't care if a celebrity owned it or not. It's the provenance of the guitar, not the celebrity that owned it.
Mm-hmm. So like a player grade celebrity owned, Dave, it'll get that little bit, like it's not going to take it up into collector quality price still. But it, like, let's say if collector price is $100,000, the player grade is $50,000, the celebrity one will get that extra. It might be worth 55, but it's not going to be worth 75, 80 even. It'll get a little, but not
so
much.
I'll give an example. You know, I recently played John Entwistle's 1950 Broadcaster, Blackguard Broadcaster, and I don't remember exactly the price on it, but the price really had nothing to do with it being John's guitar. It had everything to do with it being a 1950 Broadcaster. It just so happens that John Entwistle owned the guitar.
Yeah.
So.
And even then, like, I think it has to be pretty much their main guitar to really command a premium.
Yeah, I think Bruce Springsteen's Esquire may be $1 million guitar.
Right.
Because it was Bruce's.
Right. But then, versus say someone like Keith Richards, who's played a variety of tellies over the years.
If he sold McCorber, I think because it's Keith Richards' guitar, it would be over $1 million, I would imagine.
But that's the only one of his, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that particular, there are 3 guitars that he owns that are very well known. Three Telecasters: McCorber, Malcolm, and Sonny. Sonny is the Sunburst Telly that he plays. He plays a lot of songs on it, but those 3 Telecasters are probably would probably get more money because of who owns them.
Yeah.
Buddy Holly's Stratocaster
should be way up there, because I'm just throwing it out there on personal opinion. Buddy Holly's Strat kind of saved the Strat in many ways. or really amplified it, because he was one of the first big rock and roll proponents of the Strat.
I think, yeah, he was the first
Like Strat Guitar Hero.
Yeah, and I think he was the first endorsee. He may have been the first endorsee. Now I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think there might be a country
done the research.
or two.
I haven't done the research, but I have to believe that Buddy Holly was the first endorsee of the Stratocaster.
At least on the rock and roll side, I'd say, at least. And Keith Campbell. I'm a huge Buddy Holly fan, because if you listen to Buddy Holly, he was the original punk rocker. You give any Buddy Holly song, give it to the Ramones, it's a punk song, and they do not have to rearrange it at all, Dave. You just turn up the gain, turn up the beats per minute a little bit, and Buddy Holly is punk rock.
Yeah. You're right about that. Wagyu says Kurt Cobain's acoustic guitar from the Unplugged show sold last year for $6 million.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, considering it was basically used for a one-off, more or less. Like, it wasn't his main Jaguar or Mustang or whatever the hell he played. Offset. I remember it was an Offset. Hello, Wagyu, by the way. Well, we hit the 92-minute mark. Nice. Wow, a little overtime for you folks.
Well, what do you say we stop there and we give them more next week?
I like that idea. For those that missed the start, you get to see our new intro video at the outro as well, because it's so good. We like to show it twice.
Again.
Thanks again, Desiree and Mully, for putting that together.
Yes.
And
John Conklin for the music.
John Conklin for the music.
Thank you so much for the music, John.
It's cool. It's catchy. I dig it. Good time.
Those of you who are going to EVH Con on Sunday, I will see you there. And
those that aren't,
you won't. I think Fruitcake Tony is going to do a live feed with John Conklin from there.
Nice.
I think. So stay tuned for that.
Give my best to everybody there, Dave, of course.
I certainly will. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us this week and every week. And we'll see you next week. It's been a lot of fun. Check out this intro and outro. Ben, have a good night.
Cheers.